Welcome back to the video. Today the portfolio is sitting at about 1.1 million. Went down a bit from the Friday close, but it's fine. Yeah, and I also managed to like rename my portfolio right here. So exciting stuff of you guys can see. The road to $10 million portfolio is yeah, I can change the name right now. Okay. So apart from that, this video, what I'm gonna talk about is that I want to share with you guys a couple of stocks that you could potentially consider for yourself. And I do believe that the stocks that I am suggesting right here, you basically can hold them for the next 5 to 10 years, and you could close your eyes, literally not care, sleep at night, and at the end of the day, you will definitely make money. Like these are the types of stocks that I'm suggesting in this video. So the reason I'm making this video is because I know that some people, they are really lazy. Okay, like super lazy. Okay, you want to do like little research, but you also don't want to lose money, and you want to not risky investment, right? So like there's a lot of people who are in this situation as well. Yeah, so they don't know much about finance, but it's okay. I'm going to recommend you some safe stuff that you can consider for yourself. Obviously do your own research, but I'll get into it as well. Yeah. These companies, right, I'll just let you know, like they definitely won't like completely change your life. They'll definitely make you richer, but you won't like 10x your net worth by buying these. But it's fine as well, right? It's like you want to take it slow and steady, and like these are the companies that you want. Okay, these are generally very very safe companies as well, because they are very big already, so you don't have to worry about them going bankrupt, right? And generally they do beat the index. So it's kind of like less diversified if you buy individual stocks, but they'll definitely beat the S&P 500. So you definitely make money from here. Yeah, and then you do want a steady return. So these companies, yeah, potentially consider for yourself as well. All right. So let me just get started. So the first on my list right here, um, the first company is Taiwan Semiconductor Company, or TSMC. So if you're not aware of this company right here, their entire business model is really, really smart. So basically, if you think about who is like Nvidia, for example, right? Nvidia does not produce anything. They actually design the chips. So the only reason why Nvidia is like sitting at a very, very high market cap is because they build extremely advanced tools. Okay. So if you're not aware, right, there's Nvidia in the middle. So these guys are the ones designing the chips. And how they make money is they sell to a Facebook, for example, they sell to a Google, they sell to Amazon, right? So these guys who are like have tons of cash, okay, they're just gonna keep buying the Nvidia chips. But Nvidia itself is not a factory. They don't produce the chips itself. They go through something called contract manufacturing, and so the factory of these chips is owned by TSMC. So obviously, Nvidia, I do believe they work with some other people like maybe Samsung. There's other companies that are in Korea that call like SK Hynix, etc., etc. But these guys have like I think 60% market share of this entire thing, and Nvidia is basically their biggest customer. Okay, so whenever you see the Nvidia stock rise, right, you will also see the TSMC stock rise. Okay, and so if these people sell more chips, these people need to make more chips, and both of them make more money, and both stock prices generally are correlated, I would say. So if you think that okay, oh the Nvidia trade, right, it's like it's already a $4 trillion company, and it's like, man, like I don't think it'll go up any further. Or like I think the percentage return is gonna be like lesser than I want it to be because it's already too big for this to get to for this to get you 100% return. You probably need $8 trillion, right? Which I do think that this company will go into 8 trillion, but because like TSMC right here, they're sitting at 1.42 trillion, so it's more probable for you to like 3x your money in over here, and you can sleep at night. It's still a very safe company, so you don't have to worry, right? Another thing I like about this play is that you want to play in the AI space, right? You want some exposure to some AI stocks and stuff like that. But the Nvidia, for example, they have a risk of like I need to sell to customers, I need to be competitive, my chips or whatever it is. So they're competing with AMD and stuff like that, right? However, if you're just a factory, you don't have to take the risk. The only risk you're taking is that I'm building up my factory and then I make the chips for these customers. That's all. I don't have to do the marketing, the advertising, the implementation, stuff like that. Yeah, you don't really have to worry about that. You just make the stuff that people tell you to make. Yeah, so I would say it's a very stable business model where, if you think about it, right, everyone is going to AI nowadays. They're pouring like hundreds and billions, almost trillions of dollars into AI right now. So this person or this company right here is going to benefit a lot as well. All right. So a brief, if you're not aware, by the way, just obviously do more research for yourself. But it is a Taiwan company. It has a factory in Phoenix, Arizona, and then they have one big one in Taiwan. Okay. Some people may say that this company right here, for example, is like because they are based in Taiwan, I don't feel very comfortable. Okay. But the thing is, I don't believe in the geopolitical instability. This company is too important, and so they'll ensure that this thing is kept open, basically. If you go and see their revenue segmentation, right, I think it's very interesting as well. It's like majority of the revenue is coming from the US. But just keep in mind, like for example, the US, right? These are the US companies. So like these are the AMDs and the Nvidias and stuff like that, right? China also buys quite a bunch of stuff from them. Japan does as well. So it's like even though it's very very concentrated in over here, for example, um, like these American companies also buy and then they buy and distribute the chips to various places. So I do think that the revenue is like stable enough to be multiple things as well. Yep. If you go and want to see the earnings call, obviously you can go and see the earnings call. But in general, most of their guidance is quite good in terms of like, oh, we see stable, increasing demand, etc., etc. And yeah, I don't really see very much risk to this story in this situation. Yep. Apart from that, financials, in terms of financials, everything seems to be up and going to the right. So everything looks fine. Even on the income statement, you can see that the profits, right, they've been increasing. The net income has been increasing over time, and then the revenue is also been increasing over time, right? So there's very strong momentum in this industry. You don't have to worry about where this thing is going in 5 to 10 years, basically. Yeah. Okay. If you want to take a look at the charts, let's see where the charts. Yeah. In terms of everything of their financials and stuff like that, they have been in the company for like a long period of time. They've been public for a very long time, and so you can see like everything has been going up and trending to the right. Obviously, it's not going. There's some choppiness sometimes, but it's fine. It's like over time, if you believe the story about like people are creating more robots, humanoid robots, stuff like that, these guys will always need more and more chips, and technology will basically take everything. That's what I feel. Okay, if you agree with this thesis, then obviously this is a good stock for you. But just to show you the numbers, and then just to show you that, yeah, there's always fluctuation and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, as long as you hold it, right, it will definitely prove results and returns as well. Okay, so right now, as I said before, it's about a 1.4 trillion market cap company. So I do believe that there is still some room to grow from this right here. Okay, yeah, 1.42 trillion basically. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the first suggestion for you guys. All right. The next one, the next company is Visa. So you might be thinking, okay, Visa, Mastercard, like how incredible can it be, right? Like it's like super boring finance, fintech stuff like that. Okay. So I think it's quite interesting to me in terms of these companies because after I learned about how these guys actually make their money. Okay. So sorry for this diagram right here. So if you think about it, for example, Visa is basically, or okay, a Mastercard, right? They're basically a proxy to how the economy and the GDP is growing. So if you're not aware, for example, right, if you go and buy an iPhone, okay, I'll just put iPhone right here, okay, and then Apple charges you $1,000, right? So what they do is that these guys, they are the interlink between the bank and, for example, the merchant. So I'll just put merchant here. So whoever is selling you something, right? They take the advertising risk, that whatever it is. Visa and Mastercard, for example, their entire business is based on volume. Okay, so when you're based on volume, you're just getting as many transactions as possible. So they take something like, I think if I'm not wrong, it's 0.01%, or is it 1%, or something like that. They basically take a percentage of every transaction they have in the economy. And because they're so big, right, they just have that massive amount of scale, right? So it's a really a proxy of like how good or how bad the economy is doing. If more people are spending money, right, on their cards and stuff like that, right, generally Visa and Mastercard also will increase. But the economy is going down, for example, obviously the fees will they collect will go down over time. But as long as money is being transacted somewhere, they are always the middleman, and they can always take a percentage of it. And these percentage types of businesses, I mean, in general, over time, people hope for more economic growth versus lower economic growth. So I do believe that over the long period of time, over this thesis of like, okay, you hold this for 5 to 10 years, this thing will definitely make you money. All right. So I don't really need to explain Visa's financials and stuff because yeah, they are giant. They are a multinational corporation. They operate in literally every transaction, every business in the world. And then like they're probably going to open like some crypto thing as well. So they're trying to get money from there as well. So that's why you can see over time, right? The revenue is like extremely stable, right? The more merchants, the more people sell more shit, they get a percentage of everything. Yeah, of course, like sometimes in crisis it may go down, but like people will still buy stuff, right? So they'll still be the beneficiary. They will still make money from the situation, right? So incredibly smart business model. I mean, I wish I started this business or whatever, but 35 billion, fantastic, right? Okay, so in terms of the stock price, if you buy now, if you buy tomorrow, it does not matter because if you're holding for 5 to 10 years, it's quite a good investment. But yeah, you can clearly see it went down all the way from to 360 billion in the last 3 years alone. It's gone to 670 billion. So it's what, almost a 2x basically. Yeah. So a surefire way to make money if you are patient. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next stock right here. The next stock, a bit controversial because I actually held this position. And you might be thinking, oh, just another Tesla shiller, right? Another guy who's like, oh, Tesla is the future, blah, 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 stuff like that. Okay. So, like, the way I see Tesla is quite different from other people. So, in the past, I used to hold, I think, about 20, 25,000, 30,000 worth of Tesla stock. And then I did not really understand the humanoid program. Okay, what I mean by that is that so Tesla has these bots that are coming, that these robots. I don't know whether you've seen them, but if I just search like Tesla robot, right? What they're going to eventually do is that they're trying to replace labor and everybody who is doing like robotic role, manual role in the economy, right? And so this the amount of GDP that you can unlock, the amount of revenue you can sell to is incredible because they have so many pockets of the economy that they can actually sell these robots to. Okay, so how I think about Tesla these days is that if they really make robotics as good as they seem, right? This is how they're gonna make like a ton of money, and this is what's gonna propel the stock from um, basically a 1.4 trillion dollar company to like a 3, 4, 5 trillion dollar company, and if they really pull it off, but the thing is also because Tesla has so many good engineers, and they can attract the best talent. So that's kind of why I'm kind of like bullish in them in the long term. All right. So what's gonna happen is that if you think about it, right, a company like Amazon, okay, like Amazon, they have a ton of workers in their fulfillment warehouses, right? So in the US, for example, they have a bunch of fulfillment centers, and then people work there. They pick and pack stuff, right? If you've seen like literally any other like Amazon warehouse, okay, it basically looks like this, right? It's filled with people. People are packing shit, and then they try to automate as much process as much as possible. Okay, so I think what will happen is that if Tesla manages to get a robot good enough, they're going to replace a bunch of people. For example, in Amazon, they're going to buy like Tesla robots and stuff like that, and then they're going to help do the picking and packing. Okay, so that's like a very, very large customer already. And if you think about it, anybody who sells anything in the world, physical products, they're going to have to buy this thing because it will significantly help their business. Okay, the second thing that I think is important is in the healthcare sector. So if you think about it, right, healthcare, right, your nurses, your receptionists and stuff like that, right, they can definitely automate this component, right? Your nurse, for example, if you have not enough manpower, you cannot issue enough visas, for example, like H1B disaster right now, etc. Right? All of these people, right, you can basically buy a bunch of robots and then you can fill them up in your hospitals, and then you're able to like provide healthcare for more people because the cost of this is just almost it's cheaper than a human, right? So that's a very large sector you can basically sell to. All right. Number three, I think it's like cleaning. It's like maids, for example. And so like in the US, for example, right? If imagine you go and try to hire a maid full time, it's gonna cost you crazy amounts of money. It's gonna cost you crazy amounts of money. But for example, if Elon comes out with a bot and says this like, hey, would you like to buy a $25,000 robot right here? Okay, this person, this robot can help you clean. You buy it one time, and then you basically have it forever, right? And then obviously they're gonna charge you a software subscription, maybe like $99 a month and stuff like that, to help you clean every single day, and so that you don't have to actually clean or do housework, right? Like everybody's gonna buy this. Like there's no question about it. It's like it's the easiest ask of all time, right? So if you think about it, right, I just stated to you like literally just three sectors right here. There are so many other more sectors that they can sell to, and so basically the amount of money they can extract, the amount of revenue they can produce is almost infinite. Every single use case in the world, I can basically see it happening, right? You can talk about F&B, right? Your restaurants and stuff like that. You can have your workers come out already, right? You have cooking, right? You have cooking robots and stuff like that. You can even help with construction sometimes, right? Um, what else? Yeah, basically a bunch of shit that you can sell to. So you can see how big the market is. Like literally within these three already is maybe what a $3 trillion opportunity, because like everybody does not want to clean, obviously, unless you're crazy. And then health is a major sector, right? And then imagine your logistics, supply chain, all of this stuff. Like young people are not gonna be one. They don't want to work in warehouses, so like they're gonna have to buy a robot eventually. Okay, so like I foresee this is going to happen, and that's why Tesla is a good option despite Elon's political leanings, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Okay, all right. So Tesla, I'm pretty sure a very well covered stock already. I don't really have to explain much. It's a volatile stock. It's not a. I would say they have very good talent. It's just that the company they launch good products. The leadership is a bit like yeah, Elon's a bit crazy sometimes. But if you can forgive those that stuff, and if this guy is focused on the company, yeah, I absolutely do believe that this company may be number two and number three biggest in the world in 5 to 10 years time. Yep. If they do execute. Yeah. All right. So that is I've covered three so far. Coming on to my fourth and fifth right now. So the fourth company, I would say it's not really Pfizer. I would say it's like you pick a company that you like in the healthcare space, right? I personally like the healthcare space a lot because I do believe that young people, a lot of them think like me, like they're just not having kids, and then they are getting older, and then they're getting richer. And so when you are in that situation, generally you want better health, and so the appetite for healthcare, our parents' generation, for example, a lot of them require a lot of healthcare. Okay, they have a lot of problems because our foods are processed, a lot of sugar in the shit, and then like yeah, the companies don't care, like they just put a lot of like processed stuff in our food, and then you can clearly see like our health is not as good as our parents and stuff like that. So I do foresee that basically there's going to be a lot of demand for healthcare in the future. And if you just go to a hospital, I don't know whether you've been to a hospital lately, but I have, and it's really crazy to see like how much aging population is, like how many problems people have, right? Once they have pain, they just immediately go to the hospital. But even if they don't, like there's a ton of people who have a lot of pain, right? So these companies right here will ultimately be the beneficiaries of this. And so like if you want to pick a Pfizer, if you want to pick an Eli Lilly, for example, right? I do believe that in the long run, this is a definitely make money situation. Like this is supposed to be a 1 trillion plus company in the future. Yeah, and I also see that in America, right, our obesity rates are basically like through the roof. Like everybody's fat, or like middle America is fat, basically, right? So like that situation is going to like balloon up into something. Something's gonna happen, and the demand for healthcare is just gonna go through the roof as well. Okay, I've been researching health for quite a while, so I can confidently say to you like these mega trends are happening, and so as an investor, right, you got to think about, okay, how do we make money from this situation, right? So yeah, right now I think this company right here, they had a bit of a, how do I say this? I won't say scandal, but it's like the share price basically took quite a big hit, or like a $300 billion hit, something like that, quite recently and stuff like that. Yeah, you can see like at the top it was almost $900 billion. Now it's $650 billion. So there's actually some margin of safety for you to play with, and over time, yep, I do believe people need more medicine. So this is a really no-brainer if you're holding it for the long term. Yep, Eli Lilly, Pfizer. If you like other companies, you can check out AbbVie, Gillette Sciences. I know Thermo Fisher. Thermo Fisher is another company. Johnson and Johnson, for example. All of these drug guys, right? They have absolutely no problems. Their cash flow is very healthy. Yep. So they will not go bankrupt. Trust me on this. Yep. All right. And then the last one that I want to talk about is something that people don't really think about. Okay. So I'll give you guys some context here. So I did invest in CrowdStrike before. Both of them are cybersecurity software. So cybersecurity software is basically very big companies, for example, they normally invest into this thing. They have to buy software to protect their services, right? So imagine an airline, right? They have some ticketing software. They have like payment issues, right? They want to obviously protect customer data to prevent hackers from happening, from coming, right? And so these companies basically are the beneficiaries of this. Okay. And if you know anything about public companies, right, all of these big companies, they sell to other companies. So for example, like a TSMC, a Salesforce right over here, a Tesla, a Visa, all of them actually buy a lot of the software from these guys. Okay, so they basically sell to the mega corporations, and they pay a lot of money for cybersecurity because cybersecurity is kind of like insurance. You want to pay top dollar so you are protected. Like you want to ensure your safety, right? So a public company, for example, like CEO of Visa, right? When he looks at the contract, right, he's not looking at like how much does this cost. Is that I'm paying this because I'm making sure my company is secure and my job is secure. A lot of the times, like Visa, right, whatever, like the CEO, this guy Ryan, like he's a shareholder, obviously, but if imagine something happens on his watch, right? Some fintech cybersecurity, they got hacked or something like that. Like he's gonna get fired, right? Basically, and he does not want to get fired, so he's gonna go to like the biggest people in the space who already have like the reputation for safety. We have a lot of major corporations using us, stuff like that. We you can trust us, blah blah blah. So these companies will generally benefit over the long term, right? Also, you think about like AI and stuff like that. Um, yeah, there's going to be more and more problems, right? The more people use AI, some people can abuse AI, and then obviously these companies have even more contracts to basically sell to these other companies right here. Okay, so this is an undeniable effect of the internet in general. It's like you can sell insurance on anything basically, and so these companies can actually benefit from it, right? When you go and see the financials, these companies also somehow every single year they grow, and then they grow very very healthily. It's like crazy. It's like the most it's another overpowered business model that I really like. That obviously I wish I was I own this business 100% or whatever, but you can see like every single year, just look at the growth. It's like you are not stopping this train right here at all. Okay, you don't really have to worry too much about this stock right here. Okay, and because it's a software business, the operating margins are like fantastic, right? So hopefully I can. This is a 10%. Uh, yeah. So what 19%, 10%, 12%. Okay, 2% over here, but yeah, over the coming years and stuff like that, they've been more and more profitable over time. So that's a fantastic thing to see. Like you can see, it's like single digit profitability, and then their profits just basically increase over time, and it's quite steady at about 11%, so on and so forth. Yeah, but yeah, these types of companies, um, yeah, they sell to mega corporations, and then the revenue is very sticky at the same time. So fantastic business model. Okay, yeah, I show you Palo Alto Networks. CrowdStrike is another one that I bought in the past that told you guys about as well. Both of them are still very, very big companies now, both of them $100 billion plus companies, but no reason to think that in the 5 to 10 year span, they can basically go to 200 or 300 billion. No reason to think otherwise because they're going to continue to grow. Okay. And then if you don't want to actually buy the individual stocks, right, for these cybersecurity companies, I can kind of recommend you guys this one over here. Yeah, you can basically buy an ETF for cybersecurity. Okay, so you can buy a basket of these things. So like, imagine you don't want to like park all your money into one guy, right? You're like you don't really trust this George guy right here, right? Or you don't really trust this Nikesh right here. Okay, then you can basically just buy a bunch of them, and then you can buy the ETF, and then you should also get the upside in this very very specific industry right here. Okay, so just to conclude my video, hopefully this is useful for you guys. You guys want to think about when you invest, right? You want to invest in large sectors of the economy where, regardless of what happens, it's like this is an inevitable make money situation. Like there's no reason for you to lose money in this situation over the long term. In the short term, right, I have no idea. I've completely no idea. But in the long term, I think about this a lot. So, Jeff Bezos, he has this very good quote, very very good quote. I think this will really help you guys. Okay, so the quote is basically like, in 10 years time, what will stay the same? Okay, I love this quote because it has really helped me in my career and how I think about things. Okay, so a lot of people like to chase shiny object syndrome. A lot of shit is happening different times, and that's why if you invest in companies that completely don't have a long-term vision, then obviously you're not going to get the returns that you want. But in 10 years time, right, in his business, right, Amazon for example, he asked himself what will stay the same. So in 10 years time, right, more people will want faster shipping, lower prices, and higher selection of goods, right? Can you imagine in 10 years time, right, people want to pay more for the same thing? I cannot imagine that, right? Do you think people want to have like slower shipping? They want their packages to come like in 2 weeks instead of like 3 days. Like it does not make sense. So in 10 years time, you need to think about what will stay the same. And to me, the reason why I even tell you or recommend to you guys these stocks, right, is because in 10 years' time, will there be more AI than less AI? I think there'll be more AI. Don't you think so? Like after seeing the robots and stuff like that, I definitely know there's more AI than less AI. That's number one. Okay. Number two, will there be more transactions than less transactions? Considering that the economy, right, the entire economy is dependent on it growing over time. They always track GDP growth numbers, right? Eventually, there'll be more things being sold, bought and sold than less things. Okay, so this company will benefit. All right. In the future, will people want to do more housework? Okay, do they want to pack more shit in a warehouse? I don't think so. The younger generation wants to be TikTok people. They want to dance their butt and then they show their ass off on TikTok, right? So I don't think they want to work in these warehouses. I think a lot of people will be there's going to be less nurses and nurses because it's a difficult job. People don't want to do it, so there's a need for this thing. And then obviously nobody likes to clean even in 10 years time, obviously, right? So all of these things are true, and that is why this company right here is a worthwhile horse to bet on. In 10 years time, will there be more like diseases, sickness and stuff like that? I think so. If a lot of people are not, they're just like eating processed foods, they're getting older and older, the 50 plus range, they're going to have more and more problems, right? And lastly, yeah, will we have more hackers than less hackers? Probably, right? Will there be um more problems coming from AI? Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah. All right. So, guys, when just think about the conclude my video right here, right? Anything you buy, right? Think of it from a long term perspective, because I could be telling you this right now. You make a decision to buy this stock or whatever it is, but yeah, if as long as you are aware, you can answer this question. You should be able to sleep at night. You should be able to hold your companies as long as this is still true. Okay. So hopefully this video is helpful to you guys. Um, yeah, and just let me know what else you guys want me to cover as well. All right, thank you.